Well, and other things that don't make sense. Bernie Sanders, folks. Bernie Sanders. This guy, there's certain people within Congress that you're wrapping your head around of how do you get elected? And I love that he has that I next to his name for independent. He's literally an open socialist. The guy honeymooned in Soviet Union Russia. Like, this guy's not an independent, and he's there with the Democrats all the time. So Bernie unloads after Manchin seeks the Dems' latest spending bill. Can you imagine if they're just trying to spend more money right now? Just pump money out like it's freaking hotcakes. We're freaking 9.1% inflation. So leftist Bernie Sanders, leftist doesn't even do it justice, folks. This guy is, I don't even know what's further left. I guess socialist. Socialist is still left, but anywho, lashed out at moderate Senator Joe Manchin Sunday after Manchin scuttled the Democrats' latest spending package. Now, the Democrats got to be hating Joe Manchin, right? But the thing with Joe Manchin is that he actually serves his constituents. He doesn't serve himself. He doesn't serve his party. And he doesn't just go along party lines. He's actually an old school type of politician who goes, look, this is what my constituents want. This is what they're going to get. And this is not what they want. So I'm not going to give it to you guys, nor am I going to pass on with it. Appearing as a guest on ABC's This Week, on Sunday, Sanders claimed that the U.S. is moving rapidly into an oligarch form of society. He went on to blast Manchin for allegedly sabotaging President Joe Biden's domestic agenda and accused him of being beholden to the ultra-rich instead of working-class people in West Virginia. Just picture him saying that. He's with the ultra-rich! He's with the ultra-rich! You can't even say rich correctly. It's the 1%. They're out to get you all. And I love how he used to be against millionaires. But if you notice, as time went on, he changed it to billionaires because he himself is a millionaire, owns multiple houses. But he's just going to switch right on over without anybody noticing, except all us conservatives, Republicans notice. The only ones that don't are the Democrats who want to sink and put themselves into his narrative because, they're victims. They can't make as much as the millionaires and billionaires. Now, it is hard to make $1 billion, but everybody can really become a millionaire. There's a great book by Chris Hogan from Dave Ramsey's team called Everyday Millionaire. I recommend that you all read it because everybody could pretty much do it. Really, the only people to basically blame at the end of the day is yourself. But I know that goes against a massive narrative by many people's because they go off and they hear, oh, well, the rich are out to get me. The Republicans are bad. The conservatives are evil. The Democrats are really the ones that are going to speak up for me. Yeah. They speaking up for you right now with the economy in the trash, inflation, 40-year high, massive illegal immigration, Joe Biden bumping fists with Saudi Arabia, begging them for oil after they just got done killing a Washington Post journalist, literally chopping him up in a hotel room and putting him in a vat of acid and pouring him down the drain. Things are going great with Joe Biden over there in the Middle East right now. You got Afghanistan debacle taking place, killed 13 Americans for no reason. If he would have just had a plan to pull out correctly, but he didn't want to. He just woke up one morning and decided it was a good idea. And he just continues to have just great ideas here, folks, because he wants to spend more money. He wants to pump more money back in the economy. And you see this from Dems all the time, right? I live in California. We have Newsom going to pump out more checks here because of the inflation. Yes, you heard me correctly. He wants to pump out more money to help with inflation. They just don't get it. They literally don't get it. And that's why we're in the state that we are. And that's why we need another Republican to come out in 2024 to clean up Democrats' messes. We're always cleaning up their messes. It's unbelievable. Well, this is what Bernie had to say when he was on ABC's This Week.
I want to turn to Congress and the agenda there. Senator Joe Manchin, of course, abruptly pulled the plug this week on the Democrats'
Martha,
plans
he didn't
to
abruptly.
pass.
Martha,
Okay,
okay.
He abruptly on Friday
He didn't abruptly do anything.
He was
He
negotiating for a
sabotaged the
while.
president's agenda. No. Look, if you check the record 6 months ago, I made it clear that you have people like Manchin, Sinema to a lesser degree, who are intentionally sabotaging the president's agenda, what the American people want, what a majority of us in the Democratic caucus want. Nothing new about this. And the problem was that we continue to talk to Manchin like he was serious. He was not. This is a guy who is a major recipient of fossil fuel money, a guy who has received campaign contributions from 25 Republican billionaires. Do you think this guy is serious?
Senator, okay, you say he wasn't serious, but Manchin says his main goal is to do what's good for West Virginia, and he's worried about inflation. Listen to what he told the West Virginia radio station. Listen to this, please.
Is that right?
Inflation is absolutely killing many, many people. They can't buy gasoline. They have a hard time buying groceries. Everything they buy and consume for their daily lives is a hardship to them.
Your reaction to that, Senator?
Well, look, the same nonsense that Manchin has been talking about for a year. West Virginia, it's a beautiful state. I've had the pleasure of being there. Great people. It is one of the poorest states in this country. You ask the people of West Virginia whether they want to expand Medicare to cover dental, hearing, and eyeglasses. You ask the people of West Virginia whether we should demand that the wealthiest people in large corporations start paying their fair share of taxes. Ask the people of West Virginia whether or not all people should have health care as a human right like in every other country on earth. That's what they will say. In my humble opinion, Manchin represents the very wealthiest people in this country, not working families in West Virginia or America.
It is hilarious to me that Bernie Sanders is going to use the word nonsense when talking about Joe Manchin's agenda for the last year, while Bernie Sanders has been pushing nonsense for the last 40 plus years, saying how great socialism is, that everybody should have free health care, free college education, free everything, have your student loans forgiven, your debts paid off by the taxpayer. Yeah, this is the stuff Bernie Sanders has been pushing. That Soviet Russia was great until that collapsed. Then Cuba was great, then that collapsed. Then Venezuela was great, that collapsed. This is what this guy does. When socialism doesn't work, he moves on to the next new country that is trying to implement it. When we know in the last 100 years, it's been tried over 100 times and has never worked. But it's not going to stop him from trying to push it here in America and try to collapse this country from the inside out. This is what the Democrats want. Now they're called socialist Democrats. In reality, they're just socialist. Well, Sanders went on to say that voters must elect Democrats to protect the climate. Quote, "It ain't Democrats. It isn't the president. It's the future of the planet." When Manchin sabotages climate change, this is the future generations, what's going on right now. This is an existential threat to humanity. What this election must be about is whether or not we're going to vote for candidates who have had to stand up for working people. You gotta love this. A guy that's never actually worked a real job in his life and has been suckling at the government teat for the last 40 plus years. I think he was literally just like a paperboy for like a weekend. He's going to push here for working people. The guy's never worked a real job in his entire life, but he's going to stand up for them. There was a study that was done just most recently that came out, basically said that no Democrats elected had any business experience, which is why we see the state of where our country's at with Democrats in office that are running the show right now in all three branches. But they're going to stand up for the working people, folks. Stand up for the planet and have the courage to take on the billionaire class who dominates our country. Again, you got to love that he's going after the billionaires now. Like I said early on, it was all about the millionaires until he became one. Now it's about the billionaire class. This is how he works. Just another reed in the wind. That's what this election is about. We need more progressive Democrats. No, we don't. No, we don't. We see what happens when we have progressive Democrats in office. Joe Biden used to be a moderate. Now he's catering to the progressive left, the Democrats, the socialists, and look where everything goes. I love how he's also pushing this whole climate change agenda, very similar to what Joe Biden's doing amongst other Democrats and progressive leftists, because they're blaming everybody, right, for this oil. It's all Putin's fault. But before that, it was Trump's fault. Then it went to, again, Putin's fault. And then after that, going, well, we can't keep blaming Putin because there's other data out there to show that it's not just Putin's fault. Crap. Let's blame the oil companies. And then when they're done blaming the CEOs because the CEOs came out and said, look, we can't pump any more oil. You're doing all these things as government entities in terms of regulations, the permits and all this other stuff. They go, well, crap, we can't blame it on Joe. We can't blame it on Democrats because we're in all three offices. Who else can we blame? Oh, let's blame it on the gas stations. Oh, crap, they're only making pennies in profit. How can we manipulate the data and make sense of all this? Let's skew it a little bit. Let's when we show the American people the graph, let's put the price per gallon on there, the market price, the retail price versus crude oil. See, when we manipulate that, it will show 60-cent difference. Ooh, right? And you got to love, again, that they're pushing and say that Manchin is sabotaging climate change. All the while, we need more oil. And you have freaking Joe Biden going over and praising Saudi Arabia, kissing their feet, rubbing their shoulders, brushing their hair, whatever the hell he's doing over there. When we should be producing our oil, we shouldn't be going out and trying to ask other countries for oil. We have enough here to supply ourselves and take care of ourselves first, and then export anything else that we have in excess of. But he's not going to do that. They're going to blame everybody else but the Democrats. All the while, we need more progressive Democrats in office. Yes, with everything going around, great freaking idea. But again, nonsense, folks. It's all nonsense with Joe Manchin. No nonsense with Bernie Sanders, but as we just displayed, spewing nothing but nonsense and idiotic things. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.